welcome back to the Champions Podcast. We are doing an episode today that may be a surprise to some, but is something Champ has hinted at for several weeks that fell into his lap, and now the door is wide open and he's ready to share the news. So, Champ, what is your big news that you have going on in your life?
Well, as just as a side note, if some of you could see bloopers of some of these, this is the first time that we've ever had to record a recording 3 times. Okay. But side note, but the big news is that I am in transition from churches. So I am, as effective July 1st, I will no longer be serving as the pastor of St. Matthew Christian in Bishopville, which is where I have been for the past 5 years. I am transitioning into the pastoral role at Bethel Methodist in Oswego, which is in Sumter, Oswego, whatever, you know. I'm really, really excited about it. And you probably will hear me keep saying that we've done this 3 times. I think it's hilarious. But the Lord has a sense of humor, and I really am. I'm just really excited about it. I think the reason I keep bringing back the 3 times is because I've kind of waited so long for this. And I think in my heart and in my soul, I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited to share it. I'm so excited to see what the Lord's going to do and how he's going to move in that season. So that's the news.
And as we know, ministers are used to transitions as something that you kind of sign up for when you say that you want to be a minister. Now, we obviously have had the rarity of seeing someone stay longer than 5 years, but we also know that it's very common for pastors to move and just. I see this as a stepping stone for you, like St. Matthew's was a stepping stone, and now Bethel will be somewhere God's called you to be. Champ is someone that he loves to serve, and so he accepts challenges. Like, I don't think he's afraid of a challenge. And I think he's going to do extremely well in Bethel, or at Bethel, I should say. And I think they're really excited to have him aboard. Champ, what does it mean for you just to be able to kind of serve? Because obviously you grew up in Sumter, so it's not a strange city, but just kind of serve a whole new group of faces and get to build that relationship with them.
Um, so for me, that's part of the love of ministry. I remember that when I was in seminary and going through college, even so undergrad, not even master's, but even in undergrad, there were times, and some a little bit in high school when I started realizing that like the Lord was calling me into ministry, that sort of thing. I used to say like I didn't want to be a local pastor because I thought that I would get bored ministering to and preaching to the same group of people week after week after week. But I have found, surprise, surprise, that I really enjoy it because what is it? It's doing life with, it's building community with people. And people, we're all people. Like, I think we put ministers or pastors or reverends on a pedestal, but it's the joy because you get the opportunity to share the good news of Christ with people and help them to grow and build their faith. And so that's what I love about it. I love meeting new people. That's the extrovert in me. I'm an extreme extrovert, so like this is exciting. I think I love the newness. And once the newness wears off, like it does, like everything else, it's fine, right? Because you still have new things to learn about that person or those groups of people. But you get to take them to different places. what we learn something new about people all the time. Um, Heather and I obviously aren't in relationships right now, but even one of the things I hear married people say is like you learn something new about your spouse all the time, right? You can be married to them for 20, 30, 40 years and you still are learning. And I think ministry in some ways is very similar to that because the Lord is teaching you, and if He's not teaching you something, then you're not growing in your faith and in your walk with Him.
And as we film this, let's just do a disclaimer. He has not had his first Sunday with Bethel yet. That is coming up. We're recording this episode as he is coming up on those last Sundays with the
Or
church.
amen.
So, my question is when you look out that first Sunday, July 5th, when you are in a new pulpit and you look out and see a new congregation, new faces. Maybe you'll see some familiar faces because it is Sumter. What is going to go through your mind of saying, wow, look what God has done? Look where I am? Because I feel like it's kind of almost like not really like when you went to a new school or something and you didn't really know a bunch about it, but because I mean, we kind of went to the same schools, but when as an adult, people always say that like they get a little bit of butterflies when they go to a new job until they kind of get their feet wet for a few weeks, and then they start meeting people, and then it kind of comes okay where the butterflies wear off. Will you have butterflies that first Sunday?
I don't know if I have butterflies. I'll just have excitement and joy. I like. I think you hit the nail on the head for me several episodes ago when you started talking about what would I say to my younger self. And you started talking about how, like, I don't see a challenge. I don't see my disability. I don't see all those things. And I know I keep bringing that phraseology back up in several episodes, but I think it's true. And I think it hit home for me when you said it because I never paid attention to it as much as I do and have done in the last couple of weeks of like, I just, it's like writing on a new board. Um, you get to set the culture for how people are, sort of. You get to kind of set the culture for how this church is going to grow, what they're going to do differently. And so it's like setting a new, people are hungry, even though some people say they don't like change, which is true. People want newness every now and then. They want that kind of spark or and I think that's what makes preachers and pastors so interesting at times. And so like that's one of the gifts of the Methodist movement. Okay. And I don't talk a lot about that directly, but I think that's one where the Methodist movement, John and Charles Wesley got it right in the sense that they believed in what we call the itinerant system that you were talking about this earlier, that preachers moving around, right? Every so often they move. Now, you shared that you and I had the anomaly of we knew of a pastor who served the church that Heather and I grew up in. He served it for 32 years. And he was at that time, and maybe still is the longest serving United Methodist at that time, United Methodist pastor in the South Carolina Conference, period. Okay. That was like unheard of. And it was actually Meredith Nobles. It was her grandfather. And so, little fun fact there. But, that was not a common thing, and it's not a common thing. And even now with the Global Methodist Church, that is still a uncommon, I think, thing. I mean, you can stay a little bit longer than normal, but I think that's where they got it right, right? Because as at a point, you and I get into these ruts. And so, like you're asking about what's going to go through my mind, I think I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to write the song. I'm going to write the story. And that's what I like. That's what I love to do every day of my life. When I don't know, I might write my own obituary at some point in my life. I don't know. Hopefully, my wife will get to do that one someday, or somebody else will have the pleasure of doing that. But like, I just I want God to be infiltrated into everything that I do, and I'm so excited about it. Like I just the phrase of living life to the fullest, I'm like, let's go. Let's just keep pumping it out and doing new things and kind of pushing the envelope a little bit. As I told somebody, let's do all those things. Um,
And
you
you
know,
were
all
I mean, and you were comfortable where you were.
and that in some ways is the danger to me, right? I mean, like it can be dangerous to be comfortable. People are like, how can it be dangerous to me? Because if you are dangerously comfortable, you get complacent. And I'm such a mover and a shaker that I do believe that I reached a point, and I think I knew it looking back now. I knew it longer. I knew that something was going to change. I just didn't know what and how. I sure as goodness didn't know that I was going to be moving to this church, but because I love where I am now. And so I didn't know that that was going to happen. So when it happened, it was like, oh, okay. Um, but I think I felt it, that holy, as we call it sometimes in Christian culture, a holy discontent, a holy dissatisfaction for I'm not content with what things are or where things are. I want more. Jesus, I want you. And I have this phrase or this mindset of the Genesis 24 passage where Jacob's wrestling with God. And what does he say? Lord, I'm not going to leave you alone until you bless me. And so what does he do after he wrestles with God all night long? He takes a socket, right? And I'm giving you a little Bible story here. And he takes a socket. And then as he takes the socket, what else does he do? He changes his name from Jacob to Israel. And Israel becomes the holy priesthood, the royal community, the family, God's chosen people. And so like I live my life in that kind of attitude and perspective. Lord, I'm not going to stop until I hear you. I'm not going to quit until you speak. Because if I do that, then if I stop before he speaks, then I'm not being faithful. And then I look at the story of Abraham. Abraham had to travel for 400 years in the wilderness and in places that he didn't even know where he was going. He didn't even know what direction he was going to take. All he was told was keep moving, keep going. And there were times, there was a 400-year period, and people missed it, where God doesn't even speak. Like he just says, go. And then after that time period, God begins to speak again and he begins to kind of direct, okay, you've gone this far. Now shift. Now turn. And so I live in that reality, I think, pretty well of, Lord, I'm not going anywhere until you tell me to. Lord, I'm going to keep walking unless and until you tell me to move differently. So that's kind of how I live in ministry.
And so as you transition, because obviously you still got a few more days that are highly anticipated. So you say that you obviously live your life kind of living where, okay, God, wherever you call, you know, you're going to bless it. And when I'm going to follow it. It reminds me of that Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah, where it says,
Isaiah 40.
here I am, Lord, send me. And
Isaiah 6.
I think that represents your life very well because I mean, the truth is like maybe some people don't know your personal story to know Champ also has cerebral palsy. And so I think that, and he says I tell everyone he has that, but there's a reason because it's something to be proud of. Like the fact that you're living your dream and doing something that some people may have doubted that you could do. But we know when God puts an anointing on someone, it comes true. And so it makes me just think about that verse of, Here I am, Lord, send me, because you listened to the calling. You didn't say, Oh, well, God, I'm comfortable. You said, God, if this is where you want me to be. And I remember when you called me on the phone and you kind of said, Heather, I've been hit with this. And it was almost like you weren't hesitant, but you wanted the right thing. And I told you, I was like, pray on it for a night, and God's going to give you the answer. Sure enough, the next morning, no hesitation, you said, I'm taking the job. And it wasn't that he, like he said, he wasn't unhappy or uncomfortable, like in a season where he was trying to actively search. But it was just that God called him to this position. Here I am, Lord, send me. And that's exactly what you're doing now. So I'm excited for you. And I think it's going to be a wonderful opportunity. You're going to do so well there. Wherever he goes, people love him. So that's not going to be an issue. He makes friends wherever he goes. And I think there's something special about him being a pastor. And he says sometimes that he's not my pastor, but I say differently because I can call Champ up about anything and just be like, hey, this is what I think about this. And even if we have different opinions, like we can talk about stuff like that. And not just as a friend, but like I admire how much knowledge Champ has about it. Like he'll tell you, I am a Christian and I've been in the Bible since I came out of the womb, but I don't recite every word for word passages a lot of times. Like I know them in my brain, but if you ask me to recite them, I may miss a word.
And I think a lot of that comes from so there's a couple of things. Number one, the passage that you quoted um, has always had held a pivotal place in my heart. I'm gonna tell a few stories, so this one might go a little longer, just because I'm so excited about it, and I don't know if people have been paying attention, but I've been smiling ever since we've been sitting on the thing. I think just because number one, we've done this like 3 times, and I'm like, okay, this is going to go through. Number two, I'm gonna be excited about it. This is the third time it's gonna happen. And lastly, like I'm so grateful. Like and I think Heather would be the first to tell you that I have a recent sense of joy the last couple of weeks or the last couple of months that I've been in this anticipation. And this is kind of the life that I love. Like I don't do well in routines. Um, I love to take life with punches. So the first story about the Isaiah 6:8. So that story means a lot to me because if you look at the first couple of verses of Isaiah 6, verse 1, it talks about in the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord high and exalted. Go back and look at this if you want to make sure I'm quoting it right. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord high and exalted, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Now, here's the story. When I was a little boy, and I may have shared this on the podcast, I don't know. But when I was a little boy, I loved to play the piano. And my grandmother was the church's financial secretary. And so every so often we would go and she would prepare the things, all of the things, the financial statements. And I would say I wanted to go with her so that I could play the piano. Okay. Love my music, love it dearly. But I would go want to do that for two reasons. Number one, I love the church. Number two, the way that I was taught all about God and Jesus and who they were, and I was always told that the church was God's house. Okay. Okay, if the church is God's house, then I need to be there because if Jesus lives at the church house, right? Jesus lives at the church house. Jesus is a healer. Well, I want to be there when Jesus gets there so that Jesus can heal me in a literal physical form. Okay? So I would go in my little innocent, childlike, humble heart mind and think, all right, Lord, if I go, I'm gonna sit up in the choir loft at the piano and I'm just gonna play till my little heart's content. And the verse starts out by saying, "In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw the Lord high and exalted, and the train of his robe filled the temple." And so I'm sitting here thinking, well, all right, so this God man, this Godhead, wears this big old long robe. There's a passage in John or in one of the Gospels where all the person has to do is touch the hem of his garment and she's healed. This is how I take the Bible now. I take it literally. So I'm thinking, okay, so he's gonna walk through these double doors at 5 o'clock because that's what time my daddy gets home from work. Like that's how literally I took it. And so I would sit there and the back door, the two double back doors would be shut, and I'd just be banging away. And I would sit there and I would think, okay, I'm gonna be here when he gets home. But he never showed up in that way. And so I like wrestled, not a lot, but some, that he wasn't answering in that way. But then I learned to trust him even more because of that, right? So that's part of the moving. Um, and I think just the second part of that is just the joy that I have for all that he's done. Why would I not trust him? Um, I just I'm so thankful for what I've gotten the opportunity to do. Somebody asked me yesterday, we were talking about the difference between hobbies and callings. Y'all, I don't have a hobby, really and truly. I mean, I love music. I love to listen to music. I love to go places and do things. But ministry is my calling, it's my job, it's my hobby. And I get that not everybody has that experience in their life, but I just love it that much. And I want to be so close to him because I want to be there when he does something big. Whether it's him healing me, healing somebody else, I want to be able to say, I saw him. Because Jesus is more powerful, he's more grander than any president, than any king, than any celebrity, and he can change the world. And I've seen him change hearts, and I want to be a part of the biggest transformative person on the face of the earth, and his name is Jesus. That's
And you realize that he's not just at his house, he's in all of our houses, and
he's
that
in
he
our
can
heart.
walk through our front door any moment he wants to.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited for you, and I know this is going to be just an amazing chapter. And so y'all say a prayer that just everything for Champ's transition goes just the way God wants it to. And as we are putting this episode out, it's also America's holiday, which is the 4th of July. And we hope y'all have a very blessed and safe, please be safe out there, holiday. And just we thank all the men and women who have helped us be able to be free because our country is an amazing country and it is truly a blessing and privilege to be able to say that we are free. And so have your red, white, and blue. And we
I know
hope
I'm not
y'all,
wearing red, white, and blue, and neither is Heather.
well, not today, but we will on 4th of July. So we hope y'all have a great week and God bless.